Got Your Back Podstream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at MrDirk.com. "27 saves from Darcy Kemper. Oilers shutout in Los Angeles. A loss that's going to make home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs a bit of a long stretch at this point. They were banged up, 3 straight wins coming in, but could not find the offense on this day. Welcome to Got Your Back, folks. Looking forward to breaking this one down. Along with Jason Strudwick, we got Zuby. Rob Brown will be joining us as well. Really appreciate you taking some time on this Saturday afternoon. No post-game edition. We're live on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. And thanks for downloading us in podcast form as well. As always, our show is brought to you by Play Alberta, the official gambling partner of all the major Alberta teams. Whoever you cheer for, Play Alberta's cheering you on. Bet on your favorites, get in on odds boosts, and make game time more interesting. Deposit today and get a $50 free bet with the code GYB04 at playalberta.ca. And always remember to play within your limits and play responsibly. I am at home in our Adrenaline Diesel studio. Adrenaline Diesel is a Caterpillar recognized and authorized dealer and repair facility. For expert service for your Cat engine, visit adrenalinediesel.ca. As we say good afternoon to Zuby, who's got the sharp, original Got Your Back navy on orange hat. Zuby, that's the original, buddy. That's tight. I love that one.
It's looking good. We used to joke about Twitch. You mentioned Twitch. We used to joke about Twitch is happening now, pal.
Really?
We're getting like 8 to 10 viewers on there. Separate little community. I see the chats come in from there. They're having a good time. There's nothing but positivity over on Twitch.
I love it. Is it a different style crowd over there? Like, is it different than what we might get, say, on YouTube or on our Twitter mentions or...
It's hard to say that. Tave Sakane, who was a YouTube, he's moved over there. So we've had some migration of our YouTube.
Right.
No, I don't think it's that different, but it does seem like, I don't know, there's like this little community going over there and chatting within themselves. And it's a good vibe.
You ever spent
I've heard that Matt has moved over there since his 1 week suspension.
Blomsky. Blommer is now over on Twitch.
Matt.
Oh, it's Matt. So Matt. Matt, yes. Matthew. Is Matthew in the chat tonight yet, Zuby?
Matthew.
Not yet. He's probably out. Maybe he's lifting a few after the Canucks' big win today.
Oh, okay. All right.
Big
well, maybe,
or I assume they won.
I
assume they didn't blow that lead. I haven't seen the final score, but
very good. Lots of breakdown in the game. We'll get to that in a few minutes. Have you guys gone back and watched any classic series over again? I'm in the process of doing that right now and quickly realizing that this is quite possibly the best show that television has ever produced as I'm rewatching one of my old favorites. I'll tell you what it is in just a moment, but have you guys gone back like 15, 20 years for a show to rewatch entirely?
No. Well, maybe Seinfeld, I guess, I suppose. But that's kind of casually, right? You kind of just put it on, but not in order.
Seinfeld is ongoing for me, but I'll tell you this: I don't want to mess this up for you if you're going to the same place. But I just recently started rewatching The Sopranos from episode 1, and I don't think I'd never watched it all the way through. I think I watched the first 2-3 seasons before it was available streaming. So I literally just, I think I'm like 3-4 episodes in. I just started there, so I'm on the same train.
Struds, what would you say is your favorite dramatic series of all time?
Game of Thrones.
Very strong.
What are you watching?
So I started season 1, episode 1, The West Wing yesterday. So good. So good. So earlier on in my life when I watched it, I didn't really pay a lot of attention to politics back then. So I was quite confused by a lot of the nuance that was there. but I actually pay quite a bit of attention now. And so I feel like I have a much greater grasp of all the plot lines and everything that's going on. Such a brilliant series, Struds. Yeah, have you watched it, Struds? You got a blank look on your face.
Yeah, I don't even watch the commercials when it was on. I avert my eyes. Doesn't do it for me at all.
Not at all, hey?
No.
Zuby?
No.
Am I on an island here?
No, I watched a little bit of it when in the early days when it was brand new, but same thing. I had very little grasp of certainly American politics at the time. I think I'd have a completely different appreciation for it now. But I believe if what I do remember about watching sort of any of that stuff or any White House stuff of years past is that like there's some cooperation between the two parties, and that so now that seems insane to me. There's like zero cooperation.
I think that's part of what I'm enjoying is I'm like, oh, decency in the Oval Office. Wow, it's cathartic and nostalgic in some ways. We're interested to know what you think. What's your favorite series of all time that you would love to rewatch? Where you got a few suggestions in on the stream. Zuby, you can kind of chime in with those as they're coming in. But I managed to get 3 episodes deep yesterday. There's Jay Pintero throwing Breaking Bad. We'll have a few in there for Breaking Bad, I'm sure. Have not watched all of Breaking Bad. I have not. Struds, have you?
I did until the end. It just slowed down. Like I need some pace. After a while, if it's too sluggish, I just tap out. Same with the one where the airplane lands and lost. Yeah,
it didn't land, Struds. It crashed. That was the point of the whole show.
I don't want to get into the
or
details,
did it?
But wasn't there something like there's some aliens? I'm like, what's going on? You can't start normal and then bring in aliens or something like that's right.
There's a polar bear. There was a polar bear running around on a tropical island. They lost me at that point.
Too far-fetched. That's why Game of Thrones, it started medieval and with some fantasy and it stayed there. That's okay to start there. You can't start one way and go to another. That tells me the writers are out of ideas.
I didn't watch Lost, but I could imagine that you'd almost feel like you've been strung along. Like, oh, now this isn't what I signed up to watch. No, like it's crazy. When it gets a little bit crazy, but that's still a show with a big following, and I know lots of chatter about the finale. I don't know anything about it. I just know that it gets talked about as being there's a big reveal.
Yeah. So I always get into arguments with my family about my movie and series watching sort of preferences and the things that I get lost when they do something that people wouldn't normally do. Like when like I can extend my imagination for so many things, Struds. You want to talk about, a guy in a spider outfit that can stick to walls. I'm with you. You want to talk about like all these different things. I will allow any premise into my brain. But the minute they make somebody do something that is so stupid and unrealistic that it just defies logic, that nobody would ever do something like that, it ruins it for me. Literally will ruin movies. I watched one yesterday on Netflix. I spent a little TV time yesterday in case you didn't notice, nursing the cold. It was this new one on Netflix, and it was okay through like 3/4 of the movie, and all of a sudden, this ridiculous scene happened where all I'll tell you is that they had an airplane on a runway going full speed this way and a guy on a motorcycle going full speed that way. And they had you believe he was going to be able to stick like an axe into the airplane as it crossed over top of him and have him take off holding onto the axe up. It was so stupid. Completely ruined the movie for me. So that I can suspend belief for so many things except stupid storyline, dumb little things that happen. Struts drives me nuts.
I watched that show and I loved it up to that point, and I shut it down. I shut it down right then because it's not believable. If it had been unbelievable early, and there were some pretty crazy parts where he had a guy in his back that was defending from all these gun shots, and I can kind of suspend a little bit of reality for that. But I'm with you, man. That one, I just turned it off. I'm like, no, we're out. This is gone.
Yeah. The one that drove me nuts, absolutely nuts, was the Batman that had Bane in it, right? It's a popular movie. A lot of people like this one. You remember Bane, right? Gotham. Remember? Yeah, Bane, right? So
add that to your list of impressions there, Shocker. Pretty
impression, yeah. So this is what drove me nuts. The police are stuck down in the sewer for like weeks and weeks while Gotham is being taken over by Bane, and they finally get released. And what do? They go charging en masse right down Main Street into the waiting guns of the enemy sitting up at City Hall on the steps. They go charging headlong into them. And it's like they had weeks to plan, and they got loose. And that's what you had the police do. It just completely ruined the movie for me. I wanted to get up and walk out. So stupid.
I don't remember that, actually. And I like the Batman movies, but I don't remember that. But yeah, I hear you. You can't change the level of whatever reality in a movie midstream. I think it just doesn't work. Or a TV show.
Yeah.
There's some love also for some 80s sitcoms on here. A couple people saying Alf. I'm not sure they actually believe that, but having some fun. Somebody said Spin City. And JL, my friend on the stream, says that I have to say, because he asked me this before, what's my favorite 80s sitcom? And I said Perfect Strangers. So I got to throw out some love for Perfect Strangers on the stream as well. Sometimes the world looks perfect. Yeah. Anyway, that was it. That's...
Jeez.
What do we got here? So some stranger says, LOL, this game was that bad. Eh? Yeah. Not exactly any huge rush to dive headfirst into this one. This was just on my mind. And I get a lot of criticism from my family because they say you're no fun. We'll go to a movie together, and then I'll make these sorts of comments on the way home, and they're like, come on, just relax. Why do you got to take it? I get so annoyed when a good movie, a good premise, like that Sisu Struds, first 25, 30 minutes, it was like, okay, I'm with this. This guy's badass, and I'm with this. And then they just ruined their own movie. How do directors and producers sit around storyboarding and go, I got a good idea, and do that? I can't believe it.
I'm with you. I turn it off because you couldn't take it up all. But anything World War II related, I'll watch that movie. I will watch it all. Regular movie, documentary, I'll do it all. I love that very interesting time for sure.
Shogger, right. Jeff A wants to know where the West Wing is streaming.
Oh, I had to buy it. Off of Apple. So I committed
DVDs.
to this. I committed to this. That is a commitment. Because Struds, I've been looking for a good show to dive into while I'm on the elliptical. So I need something I could put on and I want like a bunch of them. And so that's why I decided, no, I'm committing. I'm buying this thing, and I'm going to hop on the elliptical. That will be my workout.
Yeah, I suppose if being on elliptical qualifies as a workout 100%, then you've got it. Whatever gets you moving, man.
Do you remember? So last show we had the wonderful email from Dennis who talked about the fact that he's gained 60 pounds, started listening to the podcast, and used it while he was walking, and had lost 50 pounds. So he said that our pod had been life-changing for him, which was amazing. He followed up with another email, Struds, and he says, ugh, the Jason Strudwick and the elliptical comments always come. I got started just walking, but have graduated to a variation of 1.5 hour daily workouts on the elliptical. It's a huge part of that, given its zero impact. Now, the catch is he's 63 years old, so those joints maybe need a little more care than 47-year-old joints should need. But Dennis is right with me on the value of the elliptical, Struds, not 100%. To be made fun of.
And it's his age. I love it. That's incredible. 1.5 hours. Are you kidding me? That's unreal.
I know.
I would my joints are also sore. So what I do, so I have no weight on my legs, is I swim. I'll even jog in the pool. I put one of those little noodles around my waist. And me and the other, older senior citizens ladies, we do it. We jog in the pool.
How can you make fun of me for being on an elliptical and then admit in front of everybody that you do swim running with a noodle around your waist?
Yeah, because that's athletic. It's an athletic endeavor.
I feel like your workout credibility is below mine now. Zuby,
no.
Zuby, how would you compare those two? An elliptical with a pool noodle and running
versus aqua size? No, they're in the same ballpark, I would say.
They're not in the same community. They're not in the same area code, actually. So one is very athletic because you're working on how long your running stride. There's pressure all over. You're lengthening longer, keeping your shoulders out of the water. Very difficult thing to do.
Is that on the TB12 program? Is that in Tom Brady's thing for lengthening?
I actually learned it in Switzerland when I was playing there, and their guys, they do a lot of it. Well, our team did, and I thought it really helped me out. So I still use it, but there are some older people in the pool with me at that time.
Also, I'm the wrong person really to ask about anything fitness at this point.
Yeah. Michael says swim running has more resistance. I wouldn't say that necessarily. You can really crank up the resistance on the old elliptical. Get the triceps and the calves really burning. Okay. Zuby, put in the show notes. Put in the show notes that we didn't start talking hockey till the 15-minute mark. We have agitated a whole bunch of people. Bunch of people are yelling at us on the stream. We'll let you know. Yeah, we'll let you know. We put it off for 15 minutes. Let's get to the breakdown, brought to you by Alberta Ram Dealers. It's the Ram Motor Trend Celebration event. Lease a 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab, only $139 weekly at 2.49% over 42 months. See your Alberta Ram dealer for more details. That's a nice truck at that dollar figure and that interest rate. See your Alberta Ram dealer today. All right, Struddy. We got a bunch of stuff to deal with here. We got Trent Fredric making his debut. Let's get to that in a couple of moments. Maybe first and foremost, just a thought on when McDavid and Draisaitl aren't in the lineup, other guys are going to have to pick up some of the offensive slack, but this is a tough team to generate against. I think they're the second best defensive team in the league. So what did you make of the offensive effort today?
I didn't expect Oilers to win today at all. I'm not going to lie. I went into this game watching it thinking they're going to lose. And for a couple of reasons. One, they didn't have a bunch of good players in their lineup. It's really hard to win at the best of times against a really good team. It's even harder when you don't have these players in your lineup. They beat San Jose, and I know they beat Vegas, but to be fair with Vegas, they still had Leon, the best player in the world this year. So this was a game I didn't expect them to win, and they didn't. The Kings today, I was really impressed with their defensive structure. They are very comfortable just letting you stay on the perimeter in their zone. Yeah. So they're not even really, unless they have what I'd call a 50-50 puck going in the corner, the D men aren't even chasing you. They're like, go ahead, go and get it. Just stand there. No problem. We're going to stay here and defend behind us. And so they force you to, get out of your comfort zone of feeling safe with the puck on the wall. You got to get to the middle of the ice. And for the most part, the Oilers didn't today at all. So credit the Kings with their game. I didn't think the Kings were all world. Like, to me, after watching that today with a fully loaded lineup, the Oilers can beat them. I have no doubt in my mind that they're beatable.
Interesting.
But I don't believe that today the Oilers had the firepower required to beat them or even close to it.
Yeah, that was on my list of stuff to dive into. And maybe we'll wait for Brownie to dig into that part of the conversation, because I'd be really interested in what he has to say too, just about where this caliber of Kings team is compared to previous years. So let's hold on to that one for a minute and we'll get back to it. Chris Knobloch on what he saw from his team offensively in the Weiss Johnson soundbox.
Well, I think we had some opportunities in the second period that we couldn't capitalize. But, the chances weren't a lot tonight. A lot of credit to them. And even with everyone in our lineup, it'll still be tough to generate chances just because of the way they play.
Trent.
And, of course, our sound in the sound box brought to you by Weiss Johnson Heating and Air Conditioning. If it's time for a new furnace, garage heater, or hot water tank, or you're looking to beat the rush on getting a new air conditioner unit for this summer, act now. Specializing in servicing your existing mechanical systems or putting in new ones, Weiss Johnson is here for all your home comfort needs. Visit weiss-johnson.com today. Jingle.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
We'll stay in the Weiss Johnson soundbox real quick, and here's Corey Perry on the team's game.
Well, they're between the puck and the net, or you and the net. They box out well. They play hard in the D zone. They play man on man. You gotta give them credit. They play hard, and those are things in this league. Good teams, they're going to play hard against everybody every night.
They talked a lot about how they changed their style after last year, but I'm watching that game. They don't look much different to me. Do they look much different to you? Are they doing things that
they might not play the same neutral zone or whatever, but they're the same team. They're hard to play against, and they always have been. They always will be. just one of those things.
Okay, Struds, there's a bit of complaining going on in the stream about the refereeing. Apparently, Stoff went off a little bit too post-game tonight. Did you sense an imbalance there or feel like it was a little ticky-tacky from the refs? Like, there was definitely a couple I raised my eyebrow at. You?
Well, the one I didn't like was the Bouchard call on his old buddy Fogle. I thought that was just, I actually thought Fogle grabbed him and pulled him down. But I quite honestly, I thought the ref missed a couple trips on the Edmonton Oilers that they did. They weren't called for the Kings. So, you can get worked up about it. To me, you know how I feel about blaming the refs. It's a loser's mentality. And there's no way that this game was lost because of the reffing for the Oilers. Not even anyone suggesting that is not even close to in reality.
Arthur says the refs today put the ick in pathetic. So Arthur wasn't loving the refs.
Come on.
Tony Rayan says stop the excuses and play better. Arthur also says I thought the refs were pretty bad as well. So Arthur all over the refs today. Paulie was asking for your take on the Bouchard penalty. Okay, that was a good one. We already gave him that one. So, yeah, there was probably a couple of missed calls, but you could argue they were in both directions. Let's get to Trent Fredric here, Struds. It was interesting, the quote pregame from Chris Knobloch talked about how, for TD, he had Stan asking him, Trent asking him, the coach asking him, like, when's he good to go? When's he good to go? Well, in he went, and the first experiment lasted all of 6 seconds, threw a nice hit, then disappeared for a while. Would you agree that he looked somewhat labored his entire night tonight?
Yeah. So first off, the trainer's job is to be a buffer between the player and the organization. That's his job. And sometimes the organization doesn't like what the trainer says. I know TD, I think that he would have done what he felt was best for the player, short and long term. I have no doubt of that. No doubt about that.
Sure.
Now he goes out there and it's one thing to practice. It's one thing to do other things, but I've had high ankle sprain twice. And I can tell you, you know what it felt better? About a year later. It takes forever for it to get better. Forever. So you come back and you just, he great start, hits the guy, and then you can see a little, just what's the right word? It wasn't a structured way of hitting. Like you're now out of control, right? Because you're not in control like you are skating laps around or chasing Connor McDavid around the ice. So it's more freewheeling and bang, it just grabs and it jumps up and grabs you and it hurts. And anyone who sprained their ankle, they know that feeling. It comes back, it burns, it's painful. So you let it calm down. Like, I think I'm okay. And I'll go back out there. But he was laboring and he will continue to labor until he feels better about a year from now. It takes 2 times I heard it. 2 times it took almost a whole calendar year where I didn't have pain anymore.
So, and give him credit for gutting it out, right? So right on his very first shift, he's clearly hurting, goes out, gives it a skate at the commercial break, and then he keeps going. He didn't seem to have, he's not a fantastic skater anyways. He's a big, tall guy and looks a little laborious out there with his stride, but you could tell he was struggling with it a little bit, Struds. But I have to say, if that's Trent Fredric's contribution in that many minutes, struggling a little bit physically and feeling a little banged up, definitely like the template of what could be there for them.
Oh, 100%. And I actually don't mind his skating. I think he's pretty good for a big guy. He gets around and he gets there. He had just before the Kings scored their goal, Louis pointed out, but he gets in on the forecheck and has a good hit on the D-man and sends them kind of flying. The Oilers almost score right there. That's what they're missing. That's what they need. And that's what he and Kane can bring. So he's getting there in time to make that happen. So he's going to struggle with this and he's going to require treatment before practice, after practice, on days off, till the end of this season, whenever that happens. So just buckle up. That's what he needs to buckle up, not us. And that's what's going to happen. And he's got to play through it. And there'll be times where it just reaches up and grabs you. Just you're like, oh God, then he'll settle back down and you go, I'm sure he had that bad boy taped up. He'll be icing it down, like getting treatment. It's brutal. It is absolutely brutal. But, there comes a point where you're like, hey, can you play through it? I think you can play through it and just figure it out.
Yeah, well, clearly he was doing that tonight. Here's the head coach on his new edition.
Yeah, I thought he played really well. There was a little reevaluation, just finding out how he's feeling. and then he continued to play after that. So obviously his minutes were a little bit lower tonight, but when he was on the ice, I loved his game. I like what he gives us, a little presence around the net, some feistiness, was able to make some nice plays on the breakouts, but it'd be nice when he's, after a few games under his belt, be a lot more comfortable with our team. He'll be a welcome addition to our team.
No issue for next game, like he's ready to play more minutes in Anaheim. We're not talking about any kind of injury here.
Well, I haven't heard of any injury, but I still haven't talked to our medical staff. So,
is this another reminder?
All right. Like the way he got in and around the net, Struds. Like the way he wasn't afraid to crowd the goalie a little bit. Just up the competitiveness a bit. Yeah. I mean, he put a good shot on Doughty.
I love that. I love that whole thing. And what I find interesting, he was paired with Hyman. So, you're trying to forecast, okay, what are we doing here? Well, is it he and Hyman are a pairing? And then you've got Paul Colton and Arvidsson. I don't think you have to be a genius to figure out where two guys outside are going to slot in when they come back. So that to me lives Nuge at the 3C position. And then maybe you've got that fourth line, whatever, right now, third line or maybe second line. I don't really know what line they are, but you know what I mean with Janmark and those guys. So maybe he is trying to get a little chemistry going with these guys. And I would like to see Hyman and Frederic at 100% going with one of the two best players in the world as their center.
Well, and I wonder too, if this leg is going to be bothering him, if this ankle is going to be bothering him, and if he's going to have to be grinding his way through some discomfort, I think it's unlikely we see him at center, because the amount of skating you got to do at center, I think, is pretty different than just up and down the wing. And maybe that's why, certainly why they were starting him there. Penner's Pancake says, injury updates these days are pointless, never get any answers. And then Davin says, no point in asking what the injuries are right before the playoffs. Davin, I'm here to tell you, we're going to ask anyways. And we're going to ask every single day, because when it's McDavid and Draisaitl and Ekholm and important players, you got to keep grinding on them. You never know when you might get them to slip up and give you just a little morsel of information. Let's get to our Relentless Player of the Game, brought to you by UCAN Youth Services. If you're looking to hire entry-level staff for your company, UCAN Youth Services trains youth in pre-employment skills to help get them ready, willing, and able to join your team. Check out www.ucan.ca for more information. Struds, who are you giving the nod to tonight?
Fourth line, the Oilers' fourth line, or whatever line they are, Jones, Perry, and Kasperi Kapanen, who I always call Sammy. But those three guys, I liked their game tonight. I thought they spent a lot of time in the offensive zone. They were physical. They were one of the lines that was trying to get to middle of the ice as much as possible. So I give those guys a lot of credit. Good game from them.
Yeah, I don't mind that call. I don't mind that call at all. Kapanen showed a little jump here and there, kind of maybe understanding that he would be one of the guys on the block to come out of the lineup as the Oilers get more healthy. So I like to see players competing, recognizing their place at the dinner table is somewhat at risk. Okay, before we get to break, Zuby, hop in here, buddy. What do we got for a DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center poll? Reminder, the snow, it's a melting away, so it's time to start thinking about some golf. And DeBoer's has everything you need. If you want clubs, they got lots. If you want to get in the sim to test some out, give them a call. They're booking a week or so out, so give Scotty and Al and TJ, the crew at DeBoer's, a call, helping you play better golf. Visit them at 5311 99th Street here in Edmonton. Zuby, what are we looking at tonight?
All right, to Oiler fan, what aspect of the Kings game worries you most about a potential first-round playoff matchup? The choices are, number 1, depth of scoring. Number 2, team defense. Number 3, Darcy Kemper's record versus the Oilers. And number 4, the Kings' home ice record this season. Those are your 4 choices.
All right. I would submit, Struds, I would submit that I know you didn't sound too worried about them there, and you feel like that they're beatable here by the Oilers. And maybe we'll get into this next segment. I'd submit, though, this is the best version of the Kings that the Oilers will have faced in any of these other 3 years.
And there's one guy that I love because of it, Quinton Byfield. I mean, Quinton Byfield to me is absolute going to be a stud in this league if he isn't already. He's been really good since Christmas. But he's big and he's fast and he leans on guys. That's not an easy matchup. Phil Deneau, I know they brought him in to shut down Connor or Leon. I think it's going to be Byfield that maybe gets that opportunity. Not shut down, but match up head to head.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big swing. And even that Kuzmenko I mean, it bounced around a little bit, Struds, but it's stuck and it's worked. And that makes it, you find a piece like that works, that's a big difference.
Huge. That, and I the whole time I was watching, and I looked up his stats. He's done pretty well the last while since he came there. But, you know, when they traded for him, I'm like, what? Like, what the hell is going on? Why would you take this guy? But he drops in there and he fits that piece, and then puts everyone else in their right place. Right. Yeah. So, or it gives opportunity for other guys to be on other lines to kind of make your depth stronger. So, and I don't think they really gave up anything, did they? I want to say it was like a 5th or 6th. It was like nothing, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'll try and grab it in the break here. Yeah, what wasn't a lot. Yeah, for sure. All right, that is our DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll, and that was a breakdown brought to you by Alberta Ram Dealers. As we go to break, Zuby, I'll ask you, as the goaltending guy, you starting Rodrigue in the next game against the Anaheim Ducks on Monday?
I am. If Stu's still going to miss, as long as there's a game there for Pickard, that for sure Pickard's going to play the next one after that. Yeah, why not? Anaheim, the playoffs, the third place in the div looks like it's going to be pretty secured for the Oilers here. I give the kid a shot on the road. That seems like a pretty low pressure start to me.
What do you think, Struddy? Struds? Oh, you're thinking.
I'm thinking. I would probably say, I think I agree. It depends where Skinner's at and is coming back. If he's not coming back anytime soon, I'm giving Pickard the night off and go. That's 5 starts in a row. So I'll probably go Rodrigue against the Ducks and then come back with Pickard. What is it, Wednesday, right? Wednesday night? Yeah.
Yeah, they go Monday, Wednesday. You know what? I'm giving the kid the start either way. I am. Whether Skinner's on his way back or not, you got a set of back-to-backs coming up next weekend that you're going to put Pickard in one of those. You could give Pickard the last game of the year, depending on how many games Stu has gotten in. So I think you've had him with you. You're dragging him all over the place. I'd get him into that game and have the team play hard in front of him. I think that's one of those games, one of those teams you can put your young backup in, and the team will buckle down in front of him. And I think you can get by Anaheim. I think you're safe to give him that start. We'll see what Brownie says. All right, when we come back, we'll have takeaways. Brownie Points, Struddy's World, Ask Us Anything as well. Lots ahead here on the show, presented by Play Alberta.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at secolandentistry.com.
Rolling along with takeaways brought to you by Martin Motorsports. The YEG Motorcycle Show is coming next weekend at the Edmonton Expo Center. View the lineup of Can-Am on and off-road products, including the new Can-Am Pulse Electric 2-wheel motorcycle. And while you are there, sign up for their demo day happening later this summer to test out your next ride. Martin Motorsports. Visit them online or at their 2 Edmonton locations. Martin Motorsports, the place to go. Shop filled with fun. Okay, Struds, I wanted to ask you, like, the Kings are pretty dominant on home ice and have been all season long here. Mm-hmm. Best team in the league, basically, on home ice. How much do you think, like, home ice advantage looking like it's slipping through the Oilers' fingers here against the Kings? So what level of concern do you have with the Kings getting advantage in their area of strength, which is being home and playing games?
Well, I don't have a ton of concern for it. The Oilers they're a playoff team that started pretty much every series on the road. being road team. So this team understands how to do it. The core of this team does. Doesn't mean they can go out and do it easily, but they know what it's like. They know what it's like starting. This isn't the Toronto Maple Leafs that I believe need to finish first in their division to not have to play either one of Florida or Tampa, or maybe it looks like Ottawa's even making a run for it now, guys. So hey, Brownie, I don't see a big panic if they're unable to do it, especially if they're going to have to play the Kings there, because they've played them lots on the road there already.
But hey, Brownie.
Hi,
Brownie.
Well, to add on that, I think it is much more important for the LA Kings to come in second than it is the Oilers. The LA Kings are a much better home team, and you just have to look at the record: 29-4 at home and under 500 on the road. The Oilers, to me, I don't care where they finish. It really doesn't matter. Does it mean they're going to beat LA? No. But I don't think playing at home or away really affects the way that team plays. They're a good, battle-tested playoff hockey club that needs good health and some bounces to beat the LA Kings. And right now, we're just all crossing our fingers that there'll be good health by the time the playoffs start.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Brownie, we're going to get to, the potential playoff matchup here and how we think that looks for the Oilers this year. We'll do that in a minute. But Struds and I talked a little bit about the offense and about Trent Fredric in that opening segment. So maybe first and foremost, give me your thoughts on offensively. Obviously, without McDavid and Draisaitl, it's going to be hard, but they sputtered a little this afternoon here.
Well, they sputtered because they played against the second best defensive team in the NHL. I mean, the LA Kings are good. On home ice, Darcy Kemper's got a 1.67 goals against average. That's incredible. So they don't give up a whole lot. And when you're without your two best offensive players, I mean, they do that against the teams that are fully healthy. So the Oilers were starting without those guys. It was going to be tough. They were going to have to win this game 2-1 or somehow get a 3-2 overtime or shootout victory. So I don't look so much at the lack of offense. When Kuzmenko scored that second goal, that was more or less the end of the night for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah. And what were your thoughts on Frederic?
Well, in the 7 minutes that we saw him, he shows you what he brings. Like 6 seconds in, he absolutely pasted Brandt Clark. And then I think it was Spence that he crushed in the corner that created the Janmark chance. He's got to be abnormally strong, because a lot of guys, when they hit, they run at you to knock you flying. Most guys, when they finish a check, the guy gets squished against the boards. He hit 3 different guys tonight that they went flying, and he doesn't take runs at them. He takes 3 steps and finishes his check, and you're like, oh my goodness, that guy just went feet way flying in the air. So he took the puck to the net the one time. Really nice play from behind the net on Kemper. I want to see him healthy. I wouldn't play him next game. I wouldn't play him again until he's 100% healthy, because a healthy Trent Fredric come playoff time, I do believe he is everything that the Oilers are missing in their top 6.
And Struddy made the point that those high ankle sprains, Struds had a couple and it took like a year. So him 100% healthy, like he might just have to be grinding his way through this game in, game out. Like, I don't know if that's an option, Brownie.
Well, I finished my junior career with a high ankle sprain, and I had my ankle taped for the next 3 years in the NHL. It was, and right now in my right leg, I've got about a 4-inch vertical. On my left one, I've got a 0.5 inch. Like, it never completely heals. And every time you think it's better, you're like, okay, it feels good today. It felt good in practice. I'm going to go out. And as soon as you get leaned on by someone, or as soon as you have to go quickly from one way to the other with contact, you just retweak it. And it hurts. It hurts a lot. And now all of a sudden you're a little more hesitant. So, and you also, as Struds knows, it's taped like a cast. So you don't have the same movement that you would normally have. It affects your play. And 100%, it'll be into next season before he is completely healthy. And you try to manage it, but I'd make sure, like, he looked 6 seconds into the game where he went back. I'm like, hey, that's not good. To me, it wasn't ready yet.
Okay, let's have the matchup discussion. Struds, you made the point earlier in the show. You feel this LA team is beatable. Oilers are healthy. McDavid and Draisaitl are back. You believe that the Oilers should be favored heading into the series, and LA is beatable?
Yes, because the Oilers were missing many of their top offensive players, and they created about as many chances as LA did with all their players in there. It wasn't like LA had a ton of great chances. Pickard had to make some good saves. Did they have more than Oilers? Yes, but it wasn't a massive amount. When you take if you took Byfield and Fiala out of the LA Kings lineup tonight, and you had Connor and Leon there, what would the scale look like for chances for and against? I mean, I think that those, like Fiala created quite a bit. So did Byfield. Byfield, he had to have at least 3 or 4 shots, I'm guessing. So yeah, I think that if the Oilers they have to just get to the middle of the ice, but the Kings aren't creating a ton of offensive chances out there, Brownie.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the Oilers are as good as they were last year. I don't. I do believe that the LA Kings are better than they were last year. I think this is the best. I think goaltending, this is the best goaltending that LA will go into the playoffs with in the 4 years they played the Oilers. Darcy Kemper is their best goaltender they've had against the Oilers. Yeah. I thought Kuzmenko, who I laughed at when that was the LA pickup at the deadline. I'm like, hey, that's how you're going to improve. I thought he was excellent in this hockey game. And he is a guy that actually can score from distance. If I'm an LA King fan, there's a lot of things I like about my team, but the one thing I don't believe you could beat the Oilers with come playoffs if you don't score power play goals. And the LA Kings power play is not good. It's not good on the season. You're not going to beat the Oilers in a 7-game series if you can't score goals on your power play. There's just not enough 5-on-5 goals scored in the playoffs. I think the Oilers are the better team, but I do believe this series will be longer than it was last year, and it could go the distance. But I picked the team with Connor and Leon over the team with Kempe and Fiala.
To flesh out your thought on the trade, Struds, Andrei Kuzmenko and a 7th-round pick to Philadelphia for a 3rd-round pick, or to LA, and Philly gets a 3rd-round pick. Philadelphia retained 50% as well. So they got a guy that stepped in and has a chance to make a difference here and play some pretty big minutes. That might be a heck of a good find if his game can translate over into the playoffs. What about the blue line? Game 1 of the playoffs, Matthias Ekholm is healthy. Brownie, I know you've felt that Stetcher has outpaced Emberson recently here. They've both been in the lineup, but on this day, Emberson played 17 total minutes, 14 minutes at even strength. Stetcher played 13-17, and he was 13 at even strength. So a few more minutes for Emberson and part of that penalty kill. But if the playoffs started tomorrow, Brownie, who would your 6D be?
It'd be Stetcher. I think he's trended up, and I think Emberson's trended down. Stetcher would be my defense, but I think he just gives you more. I understand the size thing, but I think they can hide him in mismatches defensively. I just think he plays well. Like I haven't seen any part of Stetcher's game that is like, oh, okay, that's where he's going to struggle. So to me, it'd be Stetcher.
I think it's telling that he's playing with Darnell Nurse because I think they're trying to get Kulak and Emerson going together. And if Stetcher was a 6'3" guy, he'd be a $4 or $5 million defenseman. I really feel that way. He just gets bounced off, and we saw some cases today where he tries to get in there, and now he had the nice big hit on Fiala behind the net, but Fiala is the same size as him, right? So you get into playoffs and you're grinding out against Kopitar, Byfield, these big guys, Fogle, Jeannot, all these kind of big guys. It's gonna be tough for him. And unfortunately, that's not fair, but that's the NHL.
Yeah. Oh, I agree, but I don't think Emerson does much better a job with physicality either. I think he gets knocked off the puck way more than Stetcher does.
Yeah, I think that's a recent trend, and I think it's hopefully getting in the right direction. I think the first half of the season he was there and he had some big hits, and for him he's got to get a more physical mindset for sure, Brownie. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and there was a time during the year here where Emerson's game in, game out was at a much higher level than it's been out here recently. Now, whether that's the minutes or the number of games, they gave him a big long break whether that's confidence, maybe there was some contract stuff. There was talk about him potentially doing an extension, and then poof, that suddenly went away. So I'm not sure. I mean, he played his 100th game here, so he's still relatively new into this whole thing. I would lean his way, but I think your point is well made, Brownie, that Stecher has definitely made up the gap and in the conversation. I think it's going to be Nurse and Wallman together for the first game of the playoffs, though. Struds, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that, but I'm just saying that if they felt it was going to be Stecher, he'd be playing with Kulak, right? They're trying to get these guys going. So the top four, I think we know it shakes out.
Well, in all honesty, Strud, you said it a while ago. It's a 5D man team.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
Whether it's Emerson or Stecher is not going to make a difference on this team winning or losing. It's going to be 5 guys playing, and they're going to get spot duty in situations that allow them to be protected.
Yeah, because those guys can all play 20 minutes, right? They're all 20-minute guys. So even some of them are 25, 26, 27, 28. So I said 10 and 12 minutes for the 6th guy. I might be high there, guys. They might get the short end of the stick here.
Not even mentioning John Klingberg's name in all of this conversation as well. It has not gone well. That guy needs to play before I don't know how this is going to work. How many games will be able to get him into between now and the end of the regular season, and how you trust getting him in to playoff action at this point, Struds.
It's really hard. It's because he hasn't found his groove. And so he gets out, now he's out, and you try to come back and find your groove at the end of the year. It's tough, and I feel for him. He's had a rough ride here. Not because of the way he's been treated, just the injuries. Trying to come back. I don't think that the Four Nations Winter Classic, whatever they called it, that also didn't help his whole time together. So yeah, I don't know. I think
he'd be behind the other two on the depth chart.
100%, Brownie. 100%, man.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, before we get to break, let's get to our scoreboard, brought to you by Canadian Club. The all-new CC Classic 18-year-old high proof comes in at an incredible 58%, their highest proof Canadian Club Classic to date. It's a full-bodied whiskey with aromas of caramel, toffee, spicy vanilla, and a rich oak with a butterscotch finish. Struds, lots of games to be played later on tonight, but a pretty good schedule of afternoon games as well.
Yeah, 13 games here. So it's 5, almost 6 o'clock here right now. So that's why we're not going to give you all of them. But there's some afternoon that matters. The Senators beat up on the Panthers 3-0. Jake Sanderson gets his 11th goal of the year. The Penguins 5-3 over the Stars. So that's good news if you're a Winnipeg Jets fan. Did that happen? The Canucks, I believe they scored 5 goals in like 5 minutes. They beat up on the Ducks, really a game that no one cares about. And then the Rangers continue their quest to make the playoffs. And they get spanked by the Devils 4-0. Then tonight, a huge game for the Kings, Oilers, and Flames. Flames are playing Vegas tonight in the last game of the night to keep their Stanley or their playoff hopes alive, and for the Vegas to try to get out of this little snafu they're in.
Right. Did you guys see that Vegas is playing their 3rd string goaltender tonight? They've announced that their 3rd string goalie is playing. Some young kid that has not had a start in the NHL is playing tonight for Vegas against Calgary.
Oh, wow. By the way, Brownie, would you play Rodrigue next game? We didn't get a chance to ask you that yet.
I would have played him in San Jose. I'd play him next game. 100% I would.
Yeah.
And then Oil Kings WHL action have a really good run here. They're up 3-2 on PA, the 6 games tomorrow in Edmonton. So good luck to them.
All right. Yeah, get out and support the Oil Kings. All right, that was Takeaways brought to you by Martin Motorsports. When we come back, Brownie Points and Struddy's World. Ask us anything. Core Blue Liners, lots still ahead. Stay with us.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
Whoa, what was that?
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy. God, I look good.
Yes, it is time for Struddy's World, brought to you by Timberhouse Developments. Need a little extra space for the in-laws? Their garden suites are perfect for keeping them close, but not too close. The design's unique, anything but cookie cutter, and the experience of building with Timberhouse is second to none. Go see Donnie Tolsma and the great crew down at Timberhouse, online at timberhouse.ca. Struddy.
Last week I was in Red Deer, and I like to sprinkle the infield with my friends, so I offered to go get everyone a coffee. So I go to this local coffee shop. It's not a branded one, it's a local one. And I walk in there, I'm like, yeah, I'll take this, this, and this, and coffees, toss in the muffin for the kids, and I'll get a tea. Guy said, no problem, but we don't have tea. I'm like, oh, you're out. He's like, no, we don't sell tea. I said, is this a coffee shop? I guess it is. Well, then how come we don't have tea? So this guy and I get in this argument over why he doesn't have tea. I'm like, you don't have any loose leaf, you don't have tea bags, nothing. Do you have hot water? Yes, we do. Well, why don't you have tea? We don't sell tea. So we get into it. Of course, I still buy the coffee and the muffins, but this guy said, you don't understand what a coffee shop is. He's like, I don't think you understand. We don't have to have tea. I'm like, you're supposed to have tea. That's what coffee shops have. I've been in coffee shops all over the place. I've never seen a coffee shop without tea. So anyways, it ended quite nicely. I gave him a pretty decent tip because the muffin was delish, chocolate on chocolate. Hello. But I've never heard or seen of a coffee shop without tea in my life. It makes no sense, boys. So they have them in Red Deer.
Okay, so you're arguing with the guy whose coffee shop it is that decided not to have tea, and you're mad at him that he decided that he didn't want to have tea.
That's right. Well, I don't know that he owned it, but I know
Was he the owner?
He was quite passionate about it, so I assumed he did.
Was he the owner, or were you standing there ruining the day of a minimum wage worker? Like, what are we talking about here?
He didn't get his business card. I mean, I was shocked that, I assumed I don't know if he was the owner or not, but the way he stuck up for it, he seemed quite passionate. I want to make it clear. It's not like I was fighting. We were like screaming.
Right.
What kind of a coffee shop doesn't have tea? That's like a coffee shop not having cream for your coffee. It doesn't make sense.
Wait a second.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not the same thing. I do not accept that. That would be derelict in their mission statement of providing quality coffee to their customers. Not having cream for coffee would make them derelict in what their mission statement is. I do agree they should have tea, but that analogy was not correct, Jason.
It's the same thing. It's the same because we have certain expectations. When you walk to a coffee shop, I want to see coffee. I want to see, obviously, sugar, cream, maybe a sugar replacement, and then tea and some muffins. That to me is and maybe a bagel, multigrain if possible.
Croissant.
Yeah, but croissant. No, I mean, I usually expect them to have tea, but I'm not sure they have to have tea. It's a coffee shop. It's not a coffee and tea shop. It's a coffee shop. There's a big difference between coffee and tea. One is delicious and one is gross and yucky. So I can understand not having one of them there, but yeah, and I'm not sure you needed to beat up that guy and just like you went home all upset. Verbally you did. Verbally you did. And the poor guy right now is still talking about when the big mean guy came in, wanted tea. I told we don't have tea. And then he argued with me, said you have to have tea. Even though it says right up there, no tea.
Giving me the hardest time. Guy's giving me the hardest time. I'm just trying to get through my shift.
Maybe it's a Red Deer thing.
Struddy, you just wanted you didn't need them to have fancy loose leaf teas. You just wanted a Twinings.
Taking anything.
There should be a box of tea bags there somewhere. There should be.
Why though? I don't understand why you have to have tea in a coffee place. Why?
Tetley tea. Anything.
I
was so desperate. I would have had green tea. I don't like green tea. I would have had it.
But if you were to go to like a David's Tea, right?
Yeah.
Would you walk in there and ask for a coffee?
It's different. That's different.
Why?
Because it's acknowledged. It's a tea shop. David's Tea Shop.
The other one's a coffee.
Was this place called a coffee shop? Was it coffee shop in the name?
It's understood. There's more things. Does tea shops have muffins? Does David Teas have muffins? No, they don't. And if they did, they'd probably be a little dry.
Specialty shop.
There you go. Thank you very much. So anyways, maybe Red Deer people help me out. I feel it might be a Red Deer thing where people don't have tea. to bring in like a box of tea. I don't know how much it is. It's not even $10. I'd pay my $2.50 for the tea bag. That's it.
But maybe the coffee's so good that they want to make sure you're getting the best coffee possible. They don't want to give you this half-assed tea. So they're like, I'm not just going to bring in anything because now I'm giving you this beautiful, well-made coffee or a bag. So to me, I think this is a Jason issue. I think it is. I think it's a Jason issue.
I'll go back there. I'll be back there at some point. I'll go back and ask the guy again. Say,
I mean, on our show to talk about it. So here's where I'm at on this, and I don't need the final word, but here's where I'm at on this. Okay. I think it's notable for you to go, oh, okay, that's different, and then move on. For you to stand there and cause a problem is out of line. It's not that crazy for them not to have tea that would justify you standing there, probably customers behind you, don't know what's going on because they can't see past your giant head, wondering what's the delay here. I think that was offside.
Okay. And that's fair. But these people need to know, because I always live by the adage, the customer's always right. What if I brought my own tea bag in? He doesn't even have hot water. BYOTB. Bring your own tea bag.
You know what I'm doing with this, Zuby? I'm making an executive decision, Zuby. Not that I didn't like your question before, but wrap up the YouTube poll right now. Wrap it up. Tell us the results, and let's get a second poll going that we can wrap up at the end of the show. What was the result of the first one?
Why are we doing a second poll, Shogger? We all know they're all going to agree with Struds anyways.
No, they're not. I think we got him here, Brownie. I've been watching the chat. People aren't impressed with him. I think Struds is going to take his first loss. Zuby, what's the results?
I'll save the results of the other one, and we'll do them both at the same time. We'll get.
Okay, was Struddy out of line? Was Struddy out of line for
expecting tea and
at a coffee shop
and
not for voicing his? That's not what I'm saying. Yeah, it's about the chirping. Was Struddy out of line for chirping the coffee shop worker?
I confronted him with his coffee breath and stained teeth that all coffee people have.
Wow. Wow. Hopefully he doesn't listen to this show. Probably telling a story to his family about how a former Oiler came in and caused a problem and then insulted him. Goodness sakes. Lauren the Alchemist says Karen Strudwick. Yeah, agreed. I'm not liking your chances here, Struds. I'm not liking your chances. All right, we got that second poll in there. We'll wrap that one up a little bit later on in the show. That was Struddy's World, brought to you by Timberhouse Developments. I know where Don Tolsma would come out on this, Struds. They make some of the world's greatest coffee at the Timberhouse head office.
They do.
And they're shaking their head at you right now. Would you ask them for tea if we were standing there at the Timberhouse head office? Would you? Coffee experts.
Those classy people would have tea bag for sure. 100%. I don't have to BYOTB at the Timberhouse.
Emma Terry says, did you ask for the manager, Struddy? If you were passionate, why not ask for the manager and just check in?
Well, the muffin was great. I could have said, hey, muffin's great. You don't have any TBs in there. What do you want me to do? Like, I'm not going to start a world war over this, but he should know how I feel.
You're just going to dedicate your entire segment to it. All right, that's Struddy's World, brought to you by Timberhouse Developments. Tell us how you feel, folks. Think long and hard about that. I think the big guy's a little out of line, and I think we need to learn how to keep Struds honest on this show. I think that he's favored on this show. I think people take it easy on him. I think we need to do a better job of holding the big guy accountable. I think his head's getting a little big sometimes. Let's see what that second poll says.
That's two big head comments now. Two big head comments.
Yeah. Really one literal and one figurative. No.
But someone must have said something to Shogger today. He's a little sensitive, so he's trying to take it out on me. That's fine.
My favorite
all right,
is,
let's get to brownie points.
Shogger, I know when you really want to influence a poll because you say, now think about this. But you always lay it out before the vote. And when you did, I wasn't on the show for the acting one, but I was laughing so hard because you were like, okay, now before we watch this, think about the facial expressions and whatever you set it all up.
It's killing me.
It's embarrassing.
I can't win a poll. Paul on this damn show to save my life. Who Shattenkirk's pants? Nice handle. Says, was he out of line? Yes. Should they have tea? Also, yes. That is far too measured and well thought out.
Two things can be
Shattenkirk's pants. Yeah, two things. That's quite the handle there. Okay, let's get to brownie points, brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. Yes, over at Hamel's. Did you know the ultimate game day snack is Canadian owned and operated? Opened in 1962 right here in Alberta. Support Canadian business. Take part in their April special. $97 for 3 pounds of jerky. And as always, free shipping Alberta-wide. Every purchase in April gets you into a draw. And you're going to win some Got Your Back merch if you win that draw. So visit albertajerky.com to see more. Brownie, have at it.
Well, let's start. Strud's kind of touched on it, but I'm going to give 5 brownie points to the offensively challenged Vancouver Canucks, who scored 5 goals in 5 minutes today against the Anaheim Ducks. It's a 5-minute stretch that the Vancouver Canucks wish they could have spread over the last 2 weeks worth of games. They've had trouble scoring goals tonight. They get on fire for 5 minutes. Unfortunately for them, I think it is a little too late for them to be a playoff team. I have 30 brownie points to Pittsburgh Penguin legend Sidney Crosby. Had a hat trick today, giving him 30 on the season, setting him up for a good chance of a 90-point season. Just like Ovechkin, Sid the Kid seems to defy age. He's 37 years old and still dominating in the National Hockey League. I have 83 brownie points, and this one is for all the Calvin Pickard lovers out there. He's been fantastic. And in a week when the Edmonton Oilers were going to be offensively challenged, he went into Vegas and held Vegas to 2 goals and won in Vegas. He went into San Jose, again, won the game, allowed 2 goals. He goes into LA tonight. They lost the game, but he allowed them just 2 goals against. Is there a chance game 83 if Stuart Skinner is not back and healthy, or comes back and plays 1 or 2 games and doesn't look like Stuart Skinner? Calvin Pickard has certainly given the Edmonton Oilers coaches reason for optimism that they have another goalie they can win with. I have 7 and -7 brownie points to new Oiler Trent Fredric, who in the 7 minutes that he played tonight, he showed what he's capable of. A huge hit 6 seconds in, another big hit in the corner that created the Matthias Janmark scoring opportunity. Every time he was out there, he was physical. He took pucks to the net. That's the good. The bad, he only played 7 minutes in his first game with the Edmonton Oilers. He looked uncomfortable 6 seconds into the game, and eventually they shut him down as the game moved on. I don't play him against the Anaheim Ducks. I think he needs a little bit more time. But if you are an Oiler fan, you saw a lot tonight to like about Trent Fredric. And the final one, simple. I have 894 brownie points to the greatest goal scorer in the history of the National Hockey League, Alex Ovechkin. I mean, what can you say? It just tied a record that no one thought could be tied or broken. He's going to break it, whether it's tomorrow, it will be this season. And I love the fact that at the end of the game, when the Chicago Blackhawks pulled their goalie, he had a chance for a hat trick and to break the record on home ice. He told the coach, I don't want to be out there for an empty net. I'm not going to go score this goal on an empty net. And he sat on the bench. They scored an empty net goal. Then he went back out there and almost scored the record-breaking goal. So history was made yesterday when he tied the record, and history will be made when he scores his next goal. Alex Ovechkin is the greatest goal scorer in National Hockey League history. And those, my friends, are brownie points.
All right. Great job as always. Brownie points brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. Struds and I'll talk a little bit about Ovi in our Taking a Lap segment as well. Rob, a lot of comments. Robbie looking clean with a new beard. I too shaved for the playoff run. Brownie, what was the decision-making process about what you've done there?
Well, normally I've got this one clipper thing that you put the thingamajig on it and it goes to a certain level, but I lost it. I couldn't find it. So I tried a new one yesterday and goes way closer to the skin. So it looks like I shaved way closer. This isn't me. I need more facial hair to protect against the loss of head hair. So I'm looking at myself on here and I'm like, oh my God, I got crooked nose. I got scars on my face. I might need to get the blurry thing over top of the camera so I look a little bit better. But no,
for his age, he looks good, eh, Struds? For 63, yeah. he is looking great.
Well, I'm actually like
you were never a model, Brownie. Like it's not like you're going down from like a Jonas brother down to this. Like
what's that song by Trooper? A 3 dressed up as a 9. That's what I'm just trying to do right now. I'm just trying to dress up to a 9. And I'm not 63, but next week I do turn a year older, and we're getting closer to 60. I'm closer to 63 than I am. Well, actually, I'll be closer to 63 than I will be to 50. So yeah, I'm at that age. Like, ooh,
crazy. Get up there.
I'm now with 3 dressed up as a 5.
With the beard trim, you look a little bit more like the AI picture I made of you. Look, whereas like that's closer now.
Yeah,
that's grayer. Of course, you're very blonde in the.
That's nice.
Real Brownie's glasses are more stylish than fake Brownie. I like real Brownie's glasses better.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I still think that's a good likeness.
Yeah, pretty good AI. All right, Brownie, we're going to let you dip, buddy. Thanks. We will chat after the game on Monday against the Anaheim Ducks. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, my friend.
Sounds good. Bye-bye.
All right, that is Robbie Brown here on Got Your Back. We're going to keep it rolling right along now with our Core Blue Liners segment. All year long, we've been doing little mini deep dives on different defensemen around the league. That's been brought to you by HSE Core Services. If you're a small to medium-sized business, HSE Core has your back when it comes to health and safety compliance, creating and managing a tailored health and safety program, meeting all legislative core requirements. Visit www.hsecor.com. Let Tom Lesko and the crew over there, great family business, get you sorted out. Get your business sorted out. Struds, who are we looking at tonight, my friend?
Well, we're going to look at the D-man of the Kings, who I think is actually a fairly effective guy, Vladdy Gravikov. He came over. When I think of him, I think of a guy who takes up space. He's long. He looks like he has really long arms. He looks like he has a pretty long stick. He takes up a ton of space out there, and he's a minute eater. Early in the year when Drew Doughty was out, he was playing a ton of minutes. He played both sides. Today he was on the left side. He played right side earlier in the year. But he eats a lot of minutes 5-on-5 and he eats minutes shorthanded. That's what he does. And he does a good job of it, right? He gets in the way, plays hard, all those types of things. And to me, he'll be, I think, a good playoff performer for them this year. And he'll be one of the D-men along with like Mikey Anderson, Joel Edmondson, not so much Clark and Drew Doughty, but these big, long guys that you have to skate around and find a way to get through to get to the net.
So here's the thing. Strategically, if you're the Oilers, the formula against LA pretty much all 3 of the years has been McDavid and Draisaitl ending up on a line together. By the end of the series, they haven't always started that way, but that's the way that they have ended. And I can't help but wonder that with Gavrikov essentially in that second pairing, I think you want either 97 or 29 out there as much as possible against him. I think he can be exposed by those high-end players. So maybe a reason there to at least start with those two on separate lines, because Edmondson, Gavrikov, I want 29 or 97 out there against that pairing.
Those two would be vulnerable to speed. That's what they'd be vulnerable to, because they want you to get caught into their seaweed man-like plays, right? Like Jay Woodcroft used to say. Worst nickname I've ever heard, by the way. But
seaweed man.
And seaweed. I could see that. I mean, I could see your wisdom there with that, and you need a little speed on those wings for him. But that's when I look at the lines today. I think of Hyman with Frederic, assuming they're all healthy. That's McDavid's line, and then you have Pod Colton, a pretty big guy, then a worker bee Arvidsson beside what's his name, Leon, right? So that's kind of how I see it breaking down. But they are big. Like some of those guys are really big. And that is the Vegas type of style of playing D. But just like against Canucks last year when they had guys like Myers and Zadorov and all that, you have to use your speed and make those D-men make choices by getting on them as fast as you can when they're going to or have the puck on their stick.
That's Core Blue Liners, brought to you by HSE Core Services. Quick break. We'll take a lap and ask us anything. Get your questions in. Zuby is monitoring and pulling some of them aside. Anything you want to ask Struds? Not looking great for the big guy in the poll. My faith looks like it's going to be restored in our listenership, that they just don't always lean Struddy no matter what. We might have you beat on this one, big guy. You're going to need a late push. Throw us a thumbs up in the break. Vote on the poll if you have not yet. And we'll be right back with more here on Got Your Back. For over 60 years, Belvedere Golf and Country Club has delivered a high-quality membership experience to Edmonton and area. And now it's even better. Drainage and irrigation improvements in 2024 have taken course conditions to a new level. This commitment to long-term sustainability means exceptional playing conditions all season long. Belvedere's tee sheet availability is unmatched, so join now and experience golf the way it was meant to be played, on your schedule. Visit BelvedereGCC.com today.
Join over 250,000 Canadians who have upgraded to Canada's best mattress. Douglas is proudly made in Canada and ships directly to your door for free. Douglas is easy to set up. Enjoy perfectly balanced comfort and an easy-to-clean machine washable cover. Get a free sleep bundle with your Douglas mattress. Try risk-free for 365 nights. Get your Douglas mattress today.
If you're considering a vinyl fence, don't be fooled by cheap marketplace imitations. Get top quality vinyl fence from a trusted company with 20 years in the industry. With locations in Calgary and Edmonton, check out dlrvinylproducts.ca. Oh boy, I should not have said anything. There was like a 4-point swing in the poll Struddy's way during the break. What have I done? Come on, people, keep them honest. Can't go chastising 17-year-old minimum wage workers at coffee shops. We can't let that be acceptable. Time now to take a couple of laps, brought to you by Acon. If you're a skilled tradesperson or construction pro looking for work in Western Canada, Acon wants to hear from you. Send your resume to trades@acon.com. That is trades@acon.com, and start building what matters today. All right, Struddy, let's take a couple of laps. Where are we going, my friend?
Well, let's start with the Edmonton Oilers, and they signed another player today. Now, this is one of their own draft picks, 2023 netminder Nathaniel Day, 6th-rounder, goalie, big guy, 6'4", 205, played in the OHL, and they've signed him to his 3-year contract. So he'll be starting his professional journey. Maybe he comes up now, but whatever. His contract will start next year. So you see them trying to replenish or start stocking it. But if you get a 6th-rounder you can sign a contract with, I think that's a pretty good outcome.
I would say
any drafted player. But goalies tend to go a little bit later in the draft. But still, I like the sound of him. 6'4", 205. Yeah,
for sure. And played a good solid number of games. 21-22, played 8 games. And the following year was 32, 54, 59, 5 playoff starts as well in Flint. The save percentage and such, goals against average, it's a junior team. We'll reserve judgment till he gets going in the big leagues against the pros. But yeah, I think if you reach out and grab a goalie in the 6th round, and then, a few years later, you're ready to get a deal done with him. Yeah, I think that's probably a positive thing. And the Oilers are going to have to continue to find the homegrown talent. So we'll be hearing more probably between now, and certainly the start of next season about them reaching out into different areas to try and stock their system back up, Struddy.
And that takes time. But they have to be proactive. You have to take chances. It's lottery tickets is what you're getting. And then the grade 8. Grade 8, I tuned in to watch the 3rd period of that game last night. It's fun to watch it. I mean, I don't care if the Caps win the cup or not. This is a great story for hockey. It's a great story for the Caps, for Ovi. Wayne Gretzky was there, part of it, and he kind of was funny. He goes, what did he say? I could savor this for another 24 hours till he breaks the record. What to me is crazy, and this is my point of it all, is how similar their stats are. Number of games played, number of goals, all those types of things is just wild that after this many goals, they've done it in almost the same number of games. I think Ovi has 1 less game and they're tied. Now, if Ovi doesn't do it next game, then they'll be tied again for another game. But I think Ovi will get it done. And Gretzky's so great at just, talking about it now. I went through with Gordie Howe and now I'm doing it with Ovi, passing the torch along. Just a great thing.
Impressive. Number of games, number of goals here, Struds, in that, I think you adjust it for the eras. Ovi was playing through a time in the game where goals were a lot harder to come by for more of his career than they would have been through Gretzky's career.
Yeah, I feel that's a bit unfair to the player to say that. Think about some of the things to Wayne. When you look at some of the things that, Wayne, there was hockey was like a 4-month season, like now it's like 13 months a year. Kids are playing hockey. The training, the equipment, the coaching, all that stuff was different. Video, all that stuff was a lot different. So I think that, you give Wayne Gretzky all access to all of that stuff that Ovi was able to use. I think it kind of evens it out, even if Wayne's playing this year. I think it's a bit unfair.
But I guess what the point I'm making is more about, Gretzky wasn't the greatest. He wasn't necessarily, from a goal scoring standpoint, the greatest goal scorer in the game every single year or over a big stretch of time. I mean, he piled them up, but Ovechkin versus his contemporaries as far as goal scoring goes through this period of time. I mean, he has been a brilliant goal scorer, the best goal scorer for a long stretch of time through the game here. And there's been a margin between him and, in the time period he's been in the league, and the next guys, I would say. In an era that I think goals were harder to come by, compared to everybody else around in the game.
Yeah, but I've had friends challenge me. Well, imagine if Ovechkin went back and played when Wayne was there. He would have scored, thousands of goals. And I'm like, really?
Yeah, but it's different. I agree with you there. Yeah, I agree with you there.
That's where I guess my end of the day, I don't like comparing eras because it's so difficult. It's changed so much. So if you want to talk about the difference between he and number 2 in his time, sure. Okay, we can have that conversation. But you can also say, well, Wayne Gretzky passed the puck a lot more, right? Maybe how many more could he have scored if he had shot some of those, right? So, and I'm not trying to put Ovi down because I'm a big supporter of what he's accomplished. And you put on top, he's one of the most prolific hitters in the history of the game. So not only does he score, he also hits players. Like that, to me, I didn't know that until it was pointed out to me the other day. So pretty amazing what he's accomplished. I never thought this record would be broken. Never. And now that Ovi's going to get it, and let's say, I don't know if he plays another year or two, I don't know what he's going to do. Is someone else able to beat it and play to 40 years old and score? I just, the longevity to me is mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. You're getting up to 900 goals. It's crazy.
Yeah, pretty nuts. I was taking a lap, brought to you by Akon. Zuby, let's keep the poll going until after Ask Us Anything, because I think, in fairness to Struddy, he's been making a comeback here. And I think we should leave it open and agree that we can do it at the end.
I would have to reopen it. It's already closed.
Well, I'm just saying, since it's the second poll of the night, I would be fine with waiting a little bit longer to give Struds a chance. Did you close it?
I closed it.
It's okay. What did they say?
There's going to be. I'm already going to tell you this. Ask Us Anything today is going to be tinfoil hat edition, and something about the poll result is part of that too. So we'll get to that. Do you want to go now?
Well, if it's closed, then yeah. I mean, we might as well just reveal the result now. I didn't see it, so what is it?
Okay, well, first, we'll do this one first. This is what's a little bit unusual about this, and that's why I said this is part of tinfoil hat edition we're going to do today. The question was Struddy out of line for confronting the coffee shop guy for not having tea available? It was exactly 100 votes. I stopped it. We reached 100, so I stopped it there. But listen to these percentages. Yes, 52%. No, 46% of the vote. Only 100 people voted. So I thought I was going to get an exact 100%. It would be really easy to know exactly how many votes for each side. There's something funny here. Something funny's going on.
It's a it's a non-vote. We wash it out.
No.
That's 100%. We're missing 2 votes.
It's not 100%.
That is. We're done. I love it.
98%.
Okay.
Something very strange there. So there's a couple of questions that I'm going to get to as well. Conspiracy stuff-ish. Not outrageous. But then the other poll was, what aspect of the Kings game worries you most about a potential first-round playoff matchup? Team defense, 36% of the vote in first place. Home ice record this season, 26%. Depth of scoring, 19%. Kemper's record versus the Oilers, 18%. So very well spread out across the 4 options there. And there were some people who wrote in and said, I'm not worried. And there was some all of the above. And so there was a little bit of, there were some other things there as well. But well spread out.
There you go. JL says there's still time to count mail-in ballots. Don't have those on the show. Emma Terry says it only matters who counts the votes. I don't know who's counting those votes. Jacob says that's fair. Jacob says that is fair. Now, Davin, on the other hand, says, hold on. Davin thinks we should void the poll. We're not voiding the poll.
I agree.
It was 52% agree Struds was out of line. Anything that happened after that, if there was a slight error in the calculation, no big deal. 52% said he was out of line. He takes the loss.
Anyone watching, how about this? Anyone watching on Twitch or Twitter can write in vote because they have not voted. So you can write in vote yes or no to that poll question, and we'll keep an eye on it here as best I can during Ask Us.
Okay. All right. I'm skeptical.
All right. Should we get to...
Your turn. Start asking us questions.
Oh, I was going to do this so you could...
Oh, did I not do the read?
No. We talked
so
about,
it was my turn.
The poll.
So that was my turn.
Yes.
I made it sound like it was your mistake, and it was my mistake. Ask Us Anything, brought to you by Mortgages by Maria. Bank of Canada. Keep an eye on those rates, folks. Might get better here. The spring real estate market is heating up as well. So Maria Gallus with Maximum Mortgages offers access to several lenders and a wide range of great options. Contact her today at mortgagesbymaria.ca for all of your mortgage needs. Now it's your turn, Zuby. Sorry about that.
No problem. So continuing on a little bit, even though now like we've talked about Oilers LA as kind of this foregone conclusion, and now LA is only 1 point behind Vegas. Of course, Vegas has the game in hand, but let's continue on with that for now. 17C Potts says the problem is when the Kings get up a goal or two, they become super boring defensive style that's hard for the Oilers to get chances. Do you think if we see this matchup again with the Kings having home ice, how important does the first goal or first two goals become, especially against this Kings team, Schauger?
Yeah, I think anytime you can get the first goal, especially when a team that's really good on home ice, you can get them off balance a little bit for sure. And they need their weapon Struds. Like McDavid and Draisaitl in the lineup, it's going to make a monster difference. That goes without saying, and especially early on in games.
Pushes other guys down the lineup, spreads it out a bit. Yeah, I mean, this was a loss. This was I wrote this one in pen. There was no debating that they were going to lose it. They were going to lose this game.
Okay, now here's where into tinfoil hat territory, kind of continuing on the same idea. Jason James, is it a valid theory that Vegas is trying to lose first in the division to avoid the Blues starting their third string goalie in this tight of a race? A little sus. I don't know the status of their other goalies, for them, to be honest, for them to be starting the third guy. I mean, I don't think we'd really believe that, but let's talk about the possibility of Vegas falling into second in a matchup with the Oilers and what that might mean. Struddy?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you got to give Kings credit. They're playing pretty well, and Vegas is in a little slump, or not slump, but they're not playing as well as they can. So there's no way that they're purposely trying to lose games. I've never seen that in all my years following the NHL or being in it. Now, I think that playing Vegas in the first round would be more difficult than playing the Kings. I like Vegas's team. Now they have to get some health back. They got to get a couple guys back, especially Pietrangelo. But I would rather play the Kings in the first round than Vegas if I'm the Oilers.
Taking a quick look at their schedule too. So they got Calgary tonight. They got Vancouver, Colorado. And I think if there's still something to play for, if that's a meaningful game versus a throwaway where they rest guys, that's a tough game. Seattle, Nashville, Calgary, Vancouver. That's not a lot of real tough matchups for Vegas coming down the stretch here too. So I don't believe in that there's any conspiracies there. I think you take home ice advantage. You don't mess around with karma and the hockey gods late in the season. That's just what I think. And I think most people in hockey probably wouldn't sit there and try and devise ways to come up with losses towards the tail end of a season when you want to be winning.
Especially like on the fly. Oh, this team's coming up. We need to avoid them. But anyway, that's all good. CK Pond, no McDavid, Dry, Ekholm, Kane, a lot of firepower wasn't there. Would like a full lineup to test run for a game or two before the playoffs. That's obviously everyone, I think that would echo what a lot of people are feeling. My question kind of related to this is, What happens if they get to 2 games left in the season, their position in, say, third in the division is locked in? Then do they bring those guys back, even if maybe they're like, do they take 2 more games to heal? Or do they try to get some chemistry going from having the full roster in meaningless, essentially, games, Schauger?
I think that we will see what we heard Stoff say tonight. He expects McDavid to be back against either the Blues or the Sharks, I believe he had said, certainly Winnipeg. So I think McDavid has missed enough time now, Struds, that I would not be surprised if he played every game for the rest of the year. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Guys want to get going. Sorry, go ahead.
And you just nailed it there. They want to get their games in order, right? There's no doubt that health and rest is important, but also feeling like you're playing well is also really important. So McDavid's now missed a couple rounds, right? He's been out a bit. Draisaitl's missed some time. I mean, Kane won't be back till playoffs. Trent Fredric too. He wants to play. So I actually disagree with Brownie. I think he will be playing next game. Assuming there's just a tweak and it keeps going. So these guys want to get their games going. Ekholm as well.
Okay, Ro Nelson, good contributor here on the stream. She's been critical of Chris Knobloch. She says, what did Knobloch do to help this team generate offense today? I kind of asked her a little bit more to explain that a little bit more. She sort of said, I didn't see him shorten the bench or mix lines or spark anything, but I could be wrong. What did you guys think about it? Was Chris Knobloch, is he just kind of handcuffed right now by missing all the people that he's missing, Struddy?
Well, yeah, the bench is shortened already. Like where do you, it's pretty tough to shorten the bench any more than it is. You kind of have a lot of players that are probably kind of going to be, second, third, fourth line guys playing higher up the lineup. So you have to, you can't shorten it. Now, the one thing that I think that they're really falling victim to, and I think Schauger, you brought this up and I've talked about it. They're shooting from the point so much. They've got to get those forwards attacking the net off the wall. Otherwise,
7 shots from Bouchard tonight.
How many?
7.
Yeah. So, and they're going to give up something, right? They're like, we'll give up something from the top. So they've got to find a way to get off the wall and attack that net. And then if nothing else, then you throw it back to the point.
The one thing I will say I agree with Ro on here is against the stingy LA team, you got to generate offense. Your best offensive players are out. How many minutes do you think Jeff Skinner played tonight, Struds? 13:37.
Yeah. But we've
13:37 for a guy that, has as good a chance as anybody to bang one in. I don't know. Why not lean into him a little bit? See what happens.
Yeah. We've seen it though. We've banged this drum, right? There's injury, no injury, playing well, not playing well. His minutes aren't going up. So I after a while you just have to, I've accepted him. Like, this is where he's at.
Yeah, but you can still give your opinion as to whether or not they should have played him more tonight and that you disagree with 13:37 tonight for Jeff Skinner.
But I think I have. And after a while, when the coach doesn't want to play him, you're like, there's no sense banging that drum. It's after almost 80 games here. After 80 games,
disagreeing with it. I feel like they haven't played physically enough all year long. I've stayed true to that. I'm not just going to give up on it. It's my opinion. I think that it's my opinion. So, if you feel that Skinner hasn't gotten the right opportunity, keep saying it.
You can only say it so many times. And I understand what you're saying. There's other things that are priority above me for that. And like the hitting, like I feel that they are going to get more physical when they get in the playoffs, when they get some guys back. Like, that'll help. But I don't know. The Skinner, everyone knows how the coach feels. It's not happening.
All right, I got 2 more here. Who shat in Kirk's pants? It's a very good name. Anyone know where Ekholm is at in his rehab? A lot of games to miss for someone who, quote, would be playing if it was the playoffs. Is it also, there's some other mention on the stream about that he was very ill. So is this an injury to your knowledge, Shaggy? An injury, an illness, some combination?
Yeah, I think it's an injury. I think this one is an injury. Like, he was sick before, took forever to get out of it, then picked up an injury, then got better, then came back, then picked up another injury. I mean, is it possible that he's sick again? Maybe. Like, the guy has had a rough month and a half. And I will say what I said before. Nobody needed the Four Nations break more than Matthias Ekholm. And not only did he not get it, he went hard at that event. I watched him, and I watched their practices, and he threw everything he had at that event. So whatever time he needs now, give it to him, Struds. He's veteran enough. I don't think he's going to take a long time to find his game when he does get back in.
Yeah, no, you need him at 100%. So if he doesn't play the rest of the season, I would be fine with that and get him into game one. He knows what it feels like to be ready.
All right, last one. We've kind of talked about this. Everyone wants to still know this. Panthers Pancakes, Pickard has had solid outings. If he continues this for a few more games, is there any chance he gets game one, or will it automatically be Skinner? And if Skinner comes, like, what if Stu comes back and has a couple more rough games? I think people just, if I can read the room, I think people just want to hear you guys say, if you believe it, that there is a scenario where Calvin Pickard starts game one of the playoffs with a healthy Stu Skinner on the bench. Is there a scenario?
Yes. Yeah, there is. If Stu Skinner is still out for a little bit, so let's say that the Anaheim game goes to Rodrigue, and then he's not ready to play until, say, the Sharks or the Jets. Then really, if he goes Jets and then Pickard goes the next day against the Kings, and then he finishes the season against the Sharks, and if he has back-to-back dreadful performances, if he only gets 2 more games between now and the end of the season and it's ugly and Pickard continues to play well, then we're definitely having a legitimate conversation. If he gets only a couple of start Struds and neither of them are any good, but I don't think the chances of that are that high.
Yeah, that's a great way you laid out there. And then I think we can go back to the playoffs last year. When he turned to Pickard in some very important games and then went away from Pickard when I thought he should have stayed with him. So I think that everything is possible because the coach has shown his cards in previous really big, important moments.
Yeah, for sure. So let's let it breathe. Let's see if Stu gets back. Let's see how he plays when he gets back. Let's see how many games. But if it becomes real, and I know people like to prognosticate and look ahead, I get that. If it becomes real, we're going to deal with it here. We're going to talk about it. Right now, it's a down the road possibility. Let's give it some time. Let's see Skinner get back in and let's see how he looks once he does. Great segment, Zuby. Great questions there. Thanks for all your contributions, everybody. Ask Us Anything brought to you by Mortgages by Maria. Let's wrap up the show with our play of the day brought to you by Gallery Dental, taking the first step towards a stress-free dental experience. Give them a call. Providing modern dentistry for today's patient with the most up-to-date dentistry, sedation, implants, and so much more. GalleryDentalYEG.com is the website. Struds, what are we going to go with today, bud?
I'm going with a guy who got a hat trick, but no one's talked about because he got in a losing effort. Evgeny Dadonov had a hat trick against the Pittsburgh Penguins, but he can't celebrate. His team lost 5-3. Sid had a hat trick on the other side. So I'm going to give it a little guy a little love who got a hat trick, but no one's going to buy him a beer tonight out in Dallas.
Yeah, Hattie in a losing game in a lost season, hey?
Oh, tough.
Yeah, that's a little bit tough. Okay, great show, guys. That'll wrap it up for us. Nice work. That was our play of the day brought to you by Gallery Dental. So heading to long shots tonight, guys. Long shots for my brother's 50th birthday party. Looking forward to it. They got some crazy deals on, some drink specials and such on tonight. So look forward to going down there and having a fun night. Maybe swinging the clubs a little bit. And as always, we will have a In the System report coming up this week with Ryan Reed. Guys, have a great rest of your Saturday, rest of your weekend, and we'll chat after the game Monday, boys.
Have fun, Shogger.
All right. And thanks to all of you for joining us on the live stream, or if you've downloaded us in podcast form, we appreciate it. However you're consuming Got Your Back. We're going to keep crushing the content. Tons of pods coming your way. Don't forget Struddy's World coming up Wednesday, 12 to 1 o'clock on all our channels as well. Definitely want to keep hitting it hard from here till the end. Have a great finish to your weekend, folks. We'll chat in a couple of days. See ya.